Coming up in the next half hour of Good Day First Edition, a complete news, weather, and traffic update. And we'll have the latest information on the fight against breast cancer.
That's right. Plus, our pet vet will be here to take your calls and give advice on how to keep that pooch sitting pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on Good Day New York, some privileged information on how to keep your secrets safe. It is 6:27 on this Thursday. All right. Lynn White is here. I almost said Lynn Brown because I anchored with her for so long.
That's okay. That's happened before.
So what do we got for us this morning?
We are talking about breast cancer, Tony, the latest fight against breast cancer through legislation. Joining us now is Lois Shapiro-Canter. She's a lobbyist for NOW, the National Organization for Women. Welcome to Good Day First Edition.
Good morning. Thank you.
Breast cancer is particularly a problem out on Long Island, and you have proposed a bill. There are 2 bills now pending before the state legislature. Is
That's
that right?
correct. There's a very important bill. It's Senate 5204A, which has been sponsored by Senator Tully, and it's already passed the Assembly, which it has done in the past few years. What we've been doing on behalf of the National Organization for Women is meeting with all of the 9 Long Island senators who come from an area where there is a high incidence of breast cancer, as you know, Lynn. Unfortunately, what we found this past Tuesday is that one of these offices refused to meet with the National Organization for Women. We were pretty astounded that Senator Hannan did not have time, either himself or to have an aide put aside, to talk with us about this very serious issue.
Why do you think that is?
We're not really sure, but one of the suspicions we have is that the Majority Leader, Senator Bruno, has a very weak bill. And what has happened is that these several of the Long Island senators have gone on the Bruno bill, the weak bill. I'd like to first describe to you what the strong bill, Senate 5204A, does. It requires that commercial applicators, all the lawn care companies, and also the private applicators, which are all the farmers in the state, collect records and send it to the Department of Environmental Conservation. The purpose is, let's see if there is a correlation, which we already have proof from a lot of scientific studies. There's a correlation between pesticides and breast cancer, testicular cancer, and also prostate cancer. So the main emphasis of the bill is to create a database so that we can, for once and for all, show the correlation between pesticides and breast cancer. Unfortunately, what we came across this week was that Senator Lack from Long Island and Senator Skelos from Long Island, who are very strong and powerful senators in Albany, have told us there's no way the strong bill, the effective bill, is going to pass this year.
Why not?
Only a weaker version. Because the farmers from upstate have come down hard and are getting their way with Senator Bruno. And unfortunately, the Long Island Republican senators are not fighting strong enough to get this bill passed.
Now, what can the folks who live on Long Island who might be concerned about this do?
Well, certainly anybody who lives on Long Island who knows or is the unfortunate person who has had breast cancer, they should start calling these 9 Long Island senators every day until the legislative session is over in June and tell them that they will use this bill, Senate 5204A, as a means to decide whether they're going to re-elect that senator this November. We have to remember that thousands of women die every year in New York State because of breast cancer, and for the state Senate to say there's no causal link, that's not true. There's plenty of evidence out there. And, you know, please forgive me for saying this, but, you know, if these male senators had breasts, perhaps they would have a more vested interest in getting this bill passed. Certainly, they should be aware of the fact that pesticides do cause testicular cancer and also cause prostate cancer, so we would think that they would have a vested interest in this.
When do these bills come up for a vote?
Well, the usual games in Albany is the following. What's happened this year, the senators have sponsored both bills so they can cover their rear ends at election time. Then they can say, well, gee, I supported women's issues. I was in support of the strong breast cancer bill. But what they should do is call the National Organization for Women. They can get a hold of me, Lois Shapiro-Canter, the lobbyist for NOW, and I can tell them what the really strong bill is and what is the baloney bill.
All right. Thanks so much, Lois, for
Thank
being
you.
with us. Tony?
Okay, thank you very much.
Joseph Bruno would establish a breast cancer science board. Bruno says the legislation we are introducing will help us to determine the causes of breast cancer so that we can work to save lives and bring an end to these terrible tragedies. The National Organization for Women insists the Bruno bill isn't all it's cracked up to be.
The Bruno bill hides information from the public by denying the establishment of a database on pesticides and prevents the information to being available to the public through the Freedom of Information Act.
Breast cancer attacks everybody.